In the quiet, frozen fields of Wisconsin, a solitary farmhouse held secrets no one could imagine. For years, the man who lived there was known only as a quiet handyman, a whisper in a small town. But soon, the world would learn the truth about Ed Gein, and nothing about horror would ever be the same. To those in Plainfield, Ed was a harmless recluse, someone you might hire to fix a fence or help with odd jobs. He kept to himself, rarely speaking, never causing trouble. But behind closed doors, something dark was taking shape. Something that would soon shock the nation and inspire nightmares for generations. Strange rumors began to circulate around town. Whispers of odd lights late at night near the cemetery. Stories of figures seen digging in the moonlight. People felt a chill when passing the Gein property, a feeling that something wasn't right. But in a town where everyone knows everyone, some secrets stay buried until they don't. It wasn't until the disappearance of a local woman, Bernice Wardens, a store owner, vanished in broad daylight. A single clue pointed to the last person anyone suspected. A sales receipt for a gallon of antifreeze, signed by Ed Gein. Sheriff Arthur Schley didn't knock on the farmhouse door. He walked right in. What he found inside was not Bernice Wardens, but a scene from a nightmare. A woman's body, headless, hung upside down from the ceiling, dressed out like a deer. A world of twisted obsession, macabre artifacts. Ed Gein was found not in the house, but in a nearby grocery store, calm and unconcerned. When asked why he murdered Bernice Wardens, his reply was chillingly simple. I didn't murder her. She was a hardware store owner. I needed parts. Ed Gein's childhood was a cage built by his mother, a fanatically religious woman who taught him that the world was sinful and women were corrupt. After her death, he was completely alone, left with only her toxic beliefs and a crumbling sanity. He began spending his nights in graveyards. But what was he looking for? And what did he bring back with him? The question wasn't just who Gein killed, but what he did with them. The answer was in the walls. He wasn't just a killer, he was a collector. He turned skin into masks, skulls into bowls, and bones into furniture. He created a grotesque shrine to his dead mother, using the faces of others to try and bring her back. The bodies didn't just go into the ground. They became part of the house itself. Ed Gein's crimes didn't just shock his small town. They shaped the very foundation of modern horror. His twisted legacy inspired some of the most terrifying characters ever put on screen. Norman Bates in Psycho, Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs all carry pieces of Gein's madness. Hollywood didn't have to exaggerate much. The real-life story was already darker than fiction. Ed Gein never stood trial. Declared legally insane, he spent the rest of his days not in a prison cell, but in a series of mental hospitals. He became a model patient, quiet, cooperative, and utterly detached from the horror he had created. He died in 1984 at the age of 77. He was buried in the Plainfield Cemetery, next to the mother he could never escape. His grave was later moved to an undisclosed location, for fear it would become a target for vandalism. In the end, even his final resting place became a secret. Ed Gein is gone. The farmhouse was mysteriously burned to the ground the night after his arrest. But the questions smolder on. In a town where everyone knows everyone, how does a monster operate for so long, completely unseen? The truth is, the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones that hide in the shadows. They're the ones we see every day and choose to ignore.